The RLCS season is officially underway, and with it, there's a lot of different roster changes that some of you may not be aware of. A lot of people that took a little bit of a break following the scene in the offseason and haven't been keeping up to date on videos, which shame on you, that's what my videos are. But in this video, we're going to cover all of the new rosters, all the changes, what happened in the offseason, and what the actual teams are going to be moving forward. Now, we won't be covering every single team in North America in this video, but these are the most notable, the ones that people should know and be well aware of, teams that are returning from the previous year. So with that said, let's cover all the North American RLCS rosters for the 2021-2022 season. What's up, everybody? Lawler here. Going to be covering all of your rosters for the upcoming season. A whole lot to get into, but before we do that, as always, if you guys do enjoy the content, make sure you guys hit follow, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, all that fun stuff. The way we're going to do this is pretty straightforward. We're going to cover what the team was, what the team is now, and if there's any notable changes, whether it be the organization that represents them or the players, coaches, etc. So with that said, let's do this. Space Station Gaming is up first. It was typical Arsenal, Reddles, and Chrome as their coach, staying the exact same, no changes there. The General NRG, Garrett, Justin, and Squishy Muffins was Sizz as their coach, the exact same as well, no changes there. Gonna see a theme here. Team Envy, Mist, Atomic, and Turbo Pulsa, staying the exact same, no coach still. Not sure if they're gonna change that anytime in the future. G2 Esports was Rizzo, Chicago, JNAPS, and Jazzo. At the tail end of last season, Rizzo announced his retirement. They brought in Drees, their sub, to compete. During the offseason, they tried a bunch of different people and eventually ended up sticking with Drees. Drees, Chicago, and JNAPS is your starting roster for G2. And Sathu, their former sub of Space Station, is now their coach. Jazzo has taken the assistant coach position and full-time as manager. Shopify Rebellion was Rapid, Memory, Beast Mode, and JG7 as their coach. Rapid, Memory, and Beast Mode still the same roster, but now they have Hopsu, who came in towards the tail end of last season, who's a neuroscientist and is helping a lot with their consistency. Up next is FaZe Clan with AJ, Gyro, and Illusion with Moopy as their coach. It is now AJ, Illusion, and First Killer coming over from the Rogue Squad. Big change here, and pretty excited to watch this one because on paper, a lot of us knew it was going to be successful, and so far so good through qualifiers. Automatically in the main event 3-0. Pretty good stuff from them. Up next, Torrent, which is actually the former Alpine esports team that has been completely rebranded. Big partnership with Wavepunk and Dreadnought. Wade Penfold, the VP of esports for Wisdom Media Group, or Wisdom Gaming Group, which is the ownership team behind Alpine. But they rebranded. The team used to be Magic Bear, Percy, Jordan with their coach Mystic. It is now Magic Bear, Kinsey, who is former PK, as well as Stromboli, Jordan, and Mystic. Jordan's been stepping up huge. Team's been looking pretty dang solid. Up next, Rogue, which was Troko, Turnturo, and First Killer with Corrupted G as their coach. As we know, First Killer went over to FaZe, and they did a reverse Uno card with Gyro, who has left FaZe and is now over with Rogue. So the starting roster for Rogue now is Turoko, Turnturo, and Gyro, previous of FaZe. Corrupted G still as their coach. Next, Charlotte Phoenix was Andy, Beastabonium, Delta, and Fire Raptor. Andy has moved elsewhere, which we'll talk about. And Charlotte Phoenix is now Alraz, Beastabonium, and Delta. Fire Raptor still their coach. Up next is Xset, which is Up next is Xset, which was J-Pow. Up next is Xset, which was J-Pow, Alpha Kep, and Hoxer. Trey is their coach. This has changed with Alpha Kep going to another team, which we'll talk about here next. Their new roster is bringing in Percy in replacement of Alpha Kep. J-Pow, Percy, and Hoxer have completely changed. A lot of conversation around Percy as a whole, simply because of the way that he compares to a Mist-like player. He's got better stats last season as well, if you guys didn't hear me talk about that in my Q&A last Sunday. Percy extremely underrated and has brought Xset back to that top 8 conversation, looking extremely well. We did just mention Alpha Kep, and he has now gone to Pittsburgh Knights. Pittsburgh Knights used to be Rodoko, Sosa, and ZPS, and now it is Rodoko, Sosa, and Alpha Kep, with McLando staying as their coach. United's gone through some pretty major changes as well, where it was Dapper, Tristan, and Ajax, with Subban as the coach, It is now Savvy Seal, now known as Savvy, who is an OG and has been around quite a while. This is his rookie season in the RLCS. You've got Tristan staying and Ajax staying with Raw Greg, a former teammate and coach of Savvy. So Raw Greg, Ajax, Tristan, and Savvy. The Sonics have gone through some pretty major changes as well, where they are only left with one remaining player in T-Krell. Last season, they were Shock, Roldiz, and T-Krell with Pocket Psych as the fill-in coach due to Roldiz being a starting player. Roldiz has decided he still wants to compete competitively. It just will not be on Sonics. We'll talk about him in a sec. ZPS, Andy, and T-Krell are going to be the starters. Andy is coming over from Charlotte Phoenix, and ZPS coming over from Pittsburgh Knights. Their new coach will be someone by the name of M3, and I'm not talking about a BMW. T-Krell, the only original remaining member, another solid team, really clean rotation, excited to see what they do on offense. Oxygen Esports, which has been at the conversation of possibly getting picked up by a bigger organization for a while now. LJ Toasty Krasix with Sad Jr. as coach is staying the exact same. No changes to the roster in the 21-22 season. Ghost Gaming was Mektos, Lionblaze, Freshness, and Fakey. And we talked about Sonics going through some major changes, and that is because two of their players are actually going over to Ghost Gaming. Roldiz, Shock, and Lionblaze. Lionblaze staying the only original member for this team. And again, another really solid roster, similar to the Sonics, with rotational play and really tough to score on. Up next is version 1 with Calm, Gimmick, Torment, and Fireburner. Although plenty of tryouts in the offseason, they are remaining the exact same. Whether we will continue to see Game 5 OTs every single day remains to be a question, but so far they've already played 14 overtimes and played the maximum amount of games in the Swiss format. My heart is starting to hurt already. Up next is 72 PC. This is Jacob, Seabass, and Spider with their coach manager Josh. And for a long time, this team has not been picked up because of the professionalism that their branding is for an unsigned team until now. Flashes of Brilliance has picked up the roster, and they're staying the exact same. Jacob, Seabass, and Spider with a lot of confidence going into this next season. The former sub roster of Mile, Money, and Stokely with Asfura as sub and Threes as coach has gotten signed up. The difficulty, though, is that one of the players went to another team and organization for potential in the future. Money, Stokely, and Asfura were originally the starting players until last October, where Expert ended up getting picked up, and the team ended up getting picked up shortly after, as they are picked up by RBG Esports. So RBG originally picked them up way back in April as they tried to find a new player and tested out a bunch of other things. And they officially have made that roster finalized with Expert on October 8th. So, was Money, Stokely, and Mile as SUP. It is now Money, Stokely, and Expert under RBG Esports. Up next, Kansas City Pioneers. And this team, again, continues to be really confusing. Kansas City Pioneers used to have the Shopify Rebellion team. They released that roster and then it ended up picking up Continuum, which is Astro, Aeon, and Kronovi. Kansas City Pioneers said, hey, that's not good enough. And then ended up picking up a ragtag bunch of leftovers in Wondamike, Freshness, and Mektos. Kronovi right now is staying on the team as a content creator / fourth spot. Might become a sub. They've practiced and scrimmed with them. So Kansas City Pioneers right now is Wondamike, Freshness, and Mektos. Possible rotation for Kronovi. Another team that is coming actually over to North America. If you guys don't know, True Neutral, the best team in South America, with Shad, Razebull, AJG. They are still staying on as the same team with True Neutral, but are currently looking for a new organization, which True Neutral is supporting them until they do find a new one. And there's been some pretty big offers already. True Neutral, though, and the reason why they're being talked in this video, in the offseason decided to move to Mexico so they could compete in North America. So True Neutral, no roster changes, but Shad, Razebull, and AJG competing in North America for the first time this season. That is your major North American RLCS rosters for the upcoming season of the 2021-2022 season. I will be covering my thoughts, my opinions, how I think they're going to perform in another video later this week, as this week is officially deemed RLCS week for my YouTube channel. We're going to be talking about Europe tomorrow. All the roster changes, everything you need to know for Europe. And it's pretty hectic. Lots of changes in almost every single team except for a couple. So there's a lot to cover there. And then On Thursday and Friday, I'll be doing my tier list, my power ranking, if you want to call it, where I think the teams are going to land. Will they be in the top? Will they be in the bottom? Who's going to win where? That will be what's going on for the rest. So if you want to make sure you don't miss out on the rosters for Europe tomorrow, as well as my thoughts and opinion on them for the rest of the week, make sure you guys hit subscribe, turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.